Hello, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to this week's update. Lots of progress on the Defiant. More of that in a moment. But what's been going on the channel then is, well, actually, yes, the Defiant. The sprue tour, or box tour, not really that many sprues in it, went up last week. Quite a few nice comments on that. As you can see, it's a beautifully detailed kit. But I've managed to add some extra bits and bobs here and there, mainly around the cockpit. And yeah, so overall, loving it so far. However, I did have a bit of a crisis in that when I glued the fuselage halves together, the sort of centre section, it was all looking good. I clamped it, obviously done with black super glue, and the clamp kind of pushed one of the fuselage sides up a bit. I ended up with a step underneath. The super glue had only just sort of gone off, so I thought I could get away with prizing it apart. And when I tried, I managed to snap off a big section on both fuselage halves at the back, which was a bit of a pain in the bottom. So yeah, bit of a nightmare. The fix turned out to be really rather easy though. This material, it's resin, so it's quite brittle, but when it breaks like that, you get a very, very clean break. It doesn't shatter, no sort of shards or bits come off, and the join back again is almost perfect. Bit of glue, stick the parts on, line it all up, and just put a bit of pressure so it squeezes out any glue in there, and just hold it. Hold it till the glue goes off, and then you can sand along the seam and polish it back up, restore the surface detail, which is very easy. And actually, when you have a look at the video, so I did 2 videos in the week, just on the phone, just quick ones, which actually seem to be quite popular. So I might start doing a few more of those. But they, you can see there that actually the fix, you would never know it was broken. I was so relieved and so pleased. It's happened again, actually. If I just get the model here, so as you can see, it's in primer. What a lovely aeroplane. Now, what I recommend you do, if you've got one of these, is just at the back of those of the centre section, just behind the turret here, there's kind of 2 vertical sort of bars that butt joint vertically on the inside. I recommend you sand those down so there's a bit of play. You can line up the contours. I just sort of did a little bit of work just on the inside of the rear fuselage part here, because it does kind of force it out a little bit, so you do get a step. So I just sanded on the inside of that, glued it together, but what I've got is a gap on the retractable debris here. There's a bit of a gap, it's too narrow, and in trying to sort of force the rear part together, I managed to crack the fuselage just here, but again, bit of super glue, sanded it down, restored the surface detail, and again, you wouldn't know. But you've got to be careful with this resin. It is flexible, force times distance, but force it too much and it will break. So you've got to be careful. I managed to do that at the on one of the tailplanes as well. The pin system is, yeah, because this material is very brittle, the pins on the elevators managed to snap both of those off. So I drilled and I pinned, and Peter doesn't know this yet, but I'm going to email him and I'm going to suggest just supplying, just actually modifying the rudder's fallen off. It's only a butt joint. Just modifying at the back with holes and then supplying a bit of brass tube, just like what he's done with the new undercarriage. so the modeler can just put the brass pins in, and that I think is a better solution than the resin pins. But there we go. He may choose to do that. He may not. Oh, that keeps falling off. Anyway, all right, I'll just put that on there. Hopefully that'll hold. Right, there we are. You get vinyl canopy masks, which are really nice, but they don't quite fit, which is a bit of a shame. So I've used them where I can, and then I've backed it up with a bit of Tamiya tape. I've designed some landing light cover masks and wingtip nav light masks. With the wingtips, the nav lights, you get the cover, which is slightly too big, which I think is a bit of a Billy bonus, but no bulbs or anything like that. So what I did is I drilled into the wing, I stretched some clear sprue, I painted the bulbs, and then the cover, which is hollow, can slide over the top. It's very thick, but it is hollow. And then I just used a bit of bead of super glue and then sanded it all flush. The landing lights were done in the same way. Unfortunately, using the super glue, I got a bit of fogging on the inside on the left-hand one, which I'm really disappointed about. But hey ho, can't be helped. That happens sometimes. So if you're going to do that, I recommend maybe just using some not fogging super glue. Dip it in clear. That normally prevents it. I haven't got any. Or use a different glue. What I did have is a few little gaps around there, so I just filled the gaps with the clear sort of ladies nail varnish resin stuff, the UV stuff, cured that, sanded it all flush. And what I've done as well is I've designed to go around that a sort of plate, if you like, strengthening strip around the join, which out of vinyl, which I'm going to use. Hopefully that's going to fit, should do. And that's it. And then I've, as you can see, I primed it. Next for this though is I'm just going to pause on the airframe. I'm not going to paint it yet. I'm going to do the rear turret. Once the turret is done, and looking at the instructions, you can just drop it in. Once the turret is done, then I can have the real fun bit and paint it up. Now, the landing gear. So, Peter has redesigned the landing gear to take some brass rod for strength, because his, under the summer heat in the UK, yes, we do get hot summers sometimes, he's had some sort of bending and splaying, because it's not that heavy, because it is hollow, but it is heavy-ish. And like I say, mine is at home. So the missus, she's actually going to stick it in a care package and send it my way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the supplied undercarriage landing gear legs. I'm not going to glue them in. They're just going to be a push fit. And then when I get my care package, I'm going to replace them permanently. That is the plan. But there we are. What a lovely thing. Absolutely loving it. I have decided on the scheme. It is going to be a night fighter, one of the earlier night fighters, and so some real funky markings on it. I was going to do the sharp mouth one, but it's almost a bit of a cliche, that one, isn't it? So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do a different one, a bespoke one. There we are. Airscale Defiant. Loving it. Absolutely loving it. Not an easy model. Oh, one thing I was going to mention, and I've just forgotten, is, so, the wings come with the outer section separate. The strengthening strip that goes around the join is on the inner portion. The fit is beautiful, but what it does mean is you've got to be very careful, because those strengthening strips, they kind of stick out and they're a bit vulnerable. And I did manage to break bits off both of them. The way I fixed that is I sorted out the outer wings, like blended in all the clear parts, all that kind of stuff, glued them in with a bit of epoxy, and when it went off, I built up the sort of outer wing portion with masking tape so that it was level with the strengthening strip, and then a bit of Mr. Hobby epoxy around that, and then ran the scalpel around the edge, peeled away the tape, and then with a wet edge of the back of the blade, wet it, and just made sure it was nice and sharp. And then the next day, sanded it all down, and that's a really good fix. Really pleased with how that went. There we are. So that is the Defiant. When you see this next, hopefully next week, it's going to be finished. That's the plan. Right, what have I got on my notes? Yes. On with the news then. Quite a bit to talk about. Some really exciting stuff. I'll leave that to the end. Right. Hobby 2000. So if you don't know, Hobby 2000 release other people's kits. A lot of Hasegawa stuff, some Fujimi stuff, some Dragon stuff, under their own boxing with canopy masks and cartograph decals. And I've been hoping they were going to release the Fujimi British Phantoms, and they are. And I'm getting both. The K and the M. So the K was the Royal Navy version. Slightly different to the Crab version. So the Navy version obviously had the extendable nose wheel, which everyone knows, but also it had... Now, which way round was it? One of them had no way of doing an internal start. And I can't remember which way round that is. I think it's probably the Crab version couldn't do an internal start, but the Navy version could. Maybe. I don't know. But I'm going to get both. Really excited about that. And I really, really want to do both. And I really want to do my Hasegawa 72nd scale kit that's in the stash as well. So I can see maybe next year being the year of the Phantom. But I'm so chuffed to bits with that. I've been looking for the Italeri boxing. Couldn't find that anywhere. Hunting around, struggling to find the Fujimi boxings at a reasonable price. So very excited about that. So I've got both of those coming, one of each. Yeah, so much for my not buying stuff for the stash. ResKit. Obviously, ResKit do some just unbelievable stuff. I thought I'd just mention this. It's, not something that I would ever do, but the 1/35th scale Sky Crane, they've done a complete upgrade set for it, and it looks utterly amazing. If you have one of those kits in the stash, I highly recommend getting the ResKit stuff, because then you're going to be able to produce an absolutely phenomenal model. Clearprop MiG-19, that is now out. It's available, so you can go and get that. I'm severely tempted by that as well. But I do have a number of Clearprop kits in the stash that I want to do first. Not least, I've got all three MiG-23s. Or all three of the original release of the MiG-23s. And I want to get at least one of those done in the near future. So really excited to seeing that. Models of it Mirage 2000. Another model that I really, really want to do someday. I was going to do a Greek one. But actually, they've just released, or they're about to release, a Ukrainian version with some different weaponry on it, which is really exciting. And I'm really tempted by that as well. The Models of it Mirage 2000, it's, from what I understand, it's slightly more detailed and refined than the Special Hobby one, but it is a little bit more work to get a nicer result. It doesn't fit as well as the Special Hobby, but it's more detailed. So, horses for courses, take your pick. I want to pick the Models of it one. That's that. Right, the last one then. I've saved it to last. Qatari always cause a stir when they announce a new kit, and this one's caused a real stir. They've announced a PR, photographic reconnaissance version of the Spitfire Mark 1. It's the Type A. It's limited edition. They're only going to do 2,000 of them. The box art is utterly beautiful, as is pretty much all of their box art. It's utterly stunning, that. And I was quite tempted by that. But I've got a number of 1/32nd scale Spitfires that I need/want to do. Not least the Laminar Flow Designs Mark 14 in 32nd scale up there. I also want to do the 24 scale one at some point next year. That review is coming soon. I've just been balls deep in the Defiant, but that will come very soon. And I've got the Laminar Flow Designs Mark 5C conversion. I've got the Razorback, the Bubble Top Mark 14 conversion that I want to do into an 18 as well. Oh, and also the Mark 5C based on the Tamiya kit I want to do. And the Qatari Spitfire, I want to do the Mark 5B when that comes out. So I'm not going to get the PR one. I could buy it, stick it in the stash, maybe flip it later as a bit of investment. But no, I'm not going to do that. I don't think that's fair. I'd rather someone who really wants to build it gets it than me just stick it in my stash and then obviously not get around to building it and then bung it on eBay or something. So there we are. I'm not going to get that one, but a lot of people are really excited about that particular release, and I can see why, because it looks utterly beautiful. Obviously, I built the Battle of Britain Mark 1, the early version, and I thought it was just a beautiful kit. I really did. And this will be exactly the same, I am sure. There we are. Right. I'm going to leave it there because I'm going to get cracking on... Well, I'm going to bake a cake first for the boys in work next week. And when I've done that, that's going to be banana, chocolate, cinnamon and cardamom, for those of you who are wondering. When I've done that, I'm going to get cracking on the turret. I want to get the turret finished today, and then that leaves me all day tomorrow to get painting this thing. Really exciting times. Okay, thanks very much for watching. Stay tuned. I might do a few pop-ups with just on phone cam with progress of the Defiant, because quite a few of you like that format. And so I may well do that. But thanks very much for watching, and I will see you soon. Cheers. Bye-bye.